This time around, we explored how mental illness could be just as destructive as the rage virus if it's left untreated. We learned that the rage virus was actually a form of mental illness, clouding the mind rather than fully controlling it, with isolation taking over. We also experienced the world from the infected's perspective, which shed light on how they viewed reality. With an ending that showed the one man capable of saving everything being removed, let's dive into this film, analyse the ending, Cillian Murphy's scene, and I'll also share my thoughts on it. This is 28 years later, the Bone Temple ending explained. Just a heads up, this video contains spoilers. The ending explained. The conclusion of this chapter connected the three separate storylines in an incredibly satisfying way. We saw the Jimmies, led by Jack O'Connell, essentially being exposed for believing that old Nick, Satan, was communicating with him when Kelly revealed that she had seen old Nick dancing inside the Bone Temple alongside an alpha. In reality, it was Dr. Ian Kelson who had been researching a cure for the rage virus using Samson, the alpha, who had essentially developed an opioid dependency. Beyond that, Samson had not only become a subject for Kelson's experiments, but also a companion, something it became clear Kelson longed for after spending so much time alone. Let's begin with the Kelson and Samson storyline. The significance of this arc within the trilogy is that Samson ultimately became cured. Kelson mentioned that he theorized the rage virus acted like a fog over the brain, altering behavior and distorting perception. He believed it didn't fully seize control of the mind or cause permanent damage. Earlier in the film, we briefly saw the Alpha's perspective when he killed the Explorer. From his viewpoint, ordinary humans appeared monstrous. We also learned that natural sounds, wind, birdsong, and nature were replaced with abrasive droning noises and violent gusts. Samson had grown accustomed to Kelson's process and the sensation morphine gave him. His craving for that feeling outweighed the rage coursing through his bloodstream, which allowed Kelson to get so close to him. As time passed and Kelson delved deeper into Samson's psyche, he developed a new drug that could potentially free him from the virus. Kelson believed the condition resembled psychosis, something that would have been treated before the outbreak 20 years earlier. This is why Kelson instructed Samson to swallow the 2 pills. At one point, Kelson intended to euthanize Samson, believing there was no progress. But just as he was about to act, Samson looked at the moon and said, "Moon." This was the first word he had spoken in 28 years. It showed that when morphine was in his system, Kelson's words were breaking through the virus and reaching his mind. After taking the pills, we once again heard Samson's perspective, and it had changed completely. He could hear birds, feel the wind, and experience the beauty of nature. Memories returned, including being on a train, which is likely where he was infected. He sat down and saw himself as a child reading a book about the moon. When reality snapped back, the other infected surrounded him, preparing to attack. This confirmed that the virus was no longer present in him, and they sensed it. Despite this, Samson's sheer size allowed him to escape effortlessly. This moment was monumental, as it meant Kelson had effectively created a cure. Samson now possessed autonomy, speech, and control. The virus could neither be detected nor reinfect him. This also revealed the franchise's biggest truth. The rage virus clouds the mind rather than replacing it. It conceals what's already there instead of destroying it. Returning to the Bone Temple, Jimmy's fingers had been shrinking due to Kelly losing faith in him and Spike attempting to escape, because frankly, he was fairly useless. When Jimmy confronted Kelson and demanded he impersonate old Nick or face death, Kelson agreed. During this moment, Kelson played along and staged an incredible spectacle, convincing everyone that he was Satan incarnate. He became Jimmy's mouthpiece, issuing commandments like allowing charity to those deemed worthy and growing fingers beyond human limits. Jimmy sensed his followers' loyalty slipping, along with his own confidence. Kelson was visibly uncomfortable but complied to survive. However, when he realized Spike was behind the mask, he issued one final, unplanned commandment. Jimmy must be crucified as a sacrifice, mirroring Jesus Christ. This was Kelson's attempt to dismantle Jimmy's cult and end their terror. Jimmy turned on Kelson, exposing him by injuring him. Kelly fought back and eliminated the others, but it was Spike who ultimately killed Jimmy in the same manner Jimmy had wounded Kelson. Memento Mori once again stood at the heart of the film. Remember, you must die. Kelson, having unknowingly completed his life's work, sought refuge in his bone temple. He did so because he believed Spike had endured enough suffering after losing his mother. Even if it meant his own death, Kelson wanted Spike to be free. If it was his time, then so be it. Memento mori. Kelly and Spike exited the bone temple, leaving Jimmy suspended upside down. He cried out for his mother, and for the first time, genuine fear filled his eyes. When Samson appeared, Jimmy believed Satan himself had come to claim him, but instead he was killed by another type of infected. Kelson's final position among the skulls was incredibly powerful. He reflected that his bone temple resembled a graveyard, a place to honor the dead, and his head fit perfectly among them. It was a stunning visual. When Samson approached Kelson and thanked him, the camera shifted to a bird's-eye view of the surrounding ring of fire, symbolizing how both the man and the cure would live and die within it. The world came so close to salvation, only to lose the mind behind it. Jimmy was a fascinating character, representing severe mental illness. He believed his dead father commanded the infected and that he was Satan's son. His psychosis paralleled the rage virus, both equally destructive. Unlike Samson, Jimmy could not be saved, similar to Major Henry West in 28 Days Later, who was more terrifying than the infected themselves. Cillian Murphy's scene, after Jimmy's death and Kelson being carried away by Samson, we cut to the familiar house from 28 Days Later. Jim was alive and now had a daughter. Selena and Hannah were absent, with Selena possibly elsewhere or deceased. Jim's daughter studied the consequences of the Treaty of Versailles versus the Marshall Plan and quoted Churchill, "Those who fail to learn from history are condemned to repeat it." When Spike and Kelly appeared, she asked if they would help them. Jim replied, "Of course." This moment bridged the trilogy back to its beginning and positioned Jim once again as its moral center. My review: honestly, I can't criticize this film at all. From the chilling pool opening to its brutal barn sequence, it was unforgettable. Jack O'Connell was phenomenal. Ralph Fiennes matched him perfectly, and the intimate exploration of loneliness, madness, and humanity elevated the franchise. The runtime was tight, the storytelling efficient, and the emotional payoff profound. On Letterboxd, I gave it 5 stars, and my first of the year. I highly recommend it. You won't regret watching it. For me, it surpasses the first 28 years later. So there you have it. 28 years later, the Bone Temple ending explained.